Hi! I'm live, I'm back. I'm ready to do my job as an ace attorney. Somebody's got to do their job around here. Did you know that the United States government is shut down right now? I will say, it's funny because, like, I feel like I remember being a teenager in high school, and I feel like maybe it was around like 2013, not to age myself or anything, somewhere around that year, where like I first learned about government shutdowns because there was like a really big one, and I thought it was like, oh my God, the government's gonna shut down? What? Like, it sounded like it was gonna be the apocalypse, like this could never happen. Turns out it seems to happen like every 2 or 3 years. Because Congress can't agree on things. Congress and the Senate, they can't agree. They can't do they can't do their jobs. So what happens is they shut down the government so that federal workers who do really important things don't get paid. They will get back pay, but like right now, the people who are controlling our planes and making sure that our planes don't come falling out of the sky or crash into other planes, they're being asked to work because their job is mandatory without getting paid. But they are like, we promise we will give you back pay once like the government reopens. So I guess it's like kind of okay in the long term, but in the short term, a lot of those people, I mean, like, are pilots going to be fine? Yeah, probably. But like the people who are like scraping by and kind of need their paycheck from week to week, a lot of these people might not be able to afford to stay afloat and wait long enough to get their back pay. But don't worry, the people who are in Congress, the people who shut down the government because they can't agree on resolutions, all of them will absolutely still get paid because their payments don't pause. They're considered too important to give up their paychecks. So the people who caused the government to shut down, they still get paid. It's the rest of us in our society. Guys, I'm trying to train you to become against the elites of the world. We need to rise up and demand political respect because I would never, ever in a million years support violence on this channel. Dear FBI, don't come after me, all right? I'm just a boy who plays video games on the internet. Times are tough. In unrelated news, guys, where I live in Buffalo, New York, I live very close to the Peace Bridge, which I'm partially doxing myself again, so don't look up detailed information, actually, about... I live near one of the bridges that goes into the United States of Canada. That's not what they're called. But... Canada, they had a computer outage at their border. Now, I go into the Canadian country often. Thank God, haven't been trying to recently. The truckers who normally drive and, I don't know, deliver goods and services into Canada, they've been backed up for days. On Tuesday, I believe it was Tuesday that the Canadians had their outage at the border. So people going into Canada, they got stuck at the border. And the trucks, they've got backed up. The entire highway system in my community, I now have to take separate routes to and from the gym because the normal throughway that I would normally drive on my car to go to, it's just trucks. It's just trucks and trucks and trucks, and it's endless trucks. And they've been there for days because today's Thursday. They've been there since Tuesday. And it just... The border is reopened, to my understanding. I believe that they've fixed the computer issue, but, like, the backlog is so intense that they're just, like... They're just kind of, like, fucked. So, I don't know, but I'm gonna try to not go to Canada till they hopefully have cleared out all the trucks. And hopefully I'll get my throughway back, because, listen, I don't mean to be insensitive. And this really is super insensitive, because I can only imagine... I'd want to kill myself if I was in their position. I imagine these truck drivers... are just stuck on the road for days at this point. I mean, I don't know how fast this line is moving. I don't know, like, how many hours it is before any one of them gets through. But, like, dude, it sounds crazy. Like, they're stuck on a throughway, mind you. That's how bad the backup is. And, like, I'm not a trucker. Do they have, like... Are people pissing in bottles in there? Or, like, what's the bathroom situation like? I know that a lot of these trucks have, like, a small little bed area because a lot of truck drivers can, like, pull into truck lots and they can sleep or they can seduce the lot lizards, or things like that. But it just, they're not at a truck rest stop. They're just simply stuck on the road. So it seems like a lot of chaos, but oh well, I'm here to help my client. That's all the rambling I have. The trial here is also really heating up, so that's what we're going to do. I read Act 1 of Homestuck, a webcomic Toby Fox made. Oh wait, my computer is a little bit tilted a little too far. Sorry. Fox made music before he made Undertale. Oh. Do you recommend it? Is it something I should look at? Okay. Anyways, Jacob Welsh, Tito TJ, Jonathan Brown, Kuran Says, Fiction of Grandeur, and the rest of you, the lurkers. Welcome. Yeah, let's get right into it. So this is my client. His name is Barak von Zeeks. He's about to testify for us why he's not the Reaper, I hope, because my boyfriend is, like, really, really hell-bent on this man being the Reaper. It's possible he's being blinded by the emotional state of his being, because the Reaper murdered his father. And so it's possible that in a blind fit of rage, that Kazuma is so desperate to cast guilt onto somebody, and it's possible that my client is the victim of that. Yes. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. Tell me all about it. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. That's very noble. I respect that. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the Assassin Exchange. Well, far be it from me to cross-examine and poke holes inside of my own witness, so, my own client, my own defendant. I think his story checks out. I think we should leave it alone and call it a day. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution. Both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the Assassin Exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Well then why don't you disprove it? Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? Yeah? Let me ask you. Why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom? Well, I'm in love with you, and so I took your job because I thought you had died, and I thought I was going to avenge your death by becoming the greatest defense attorney ever, because I thought that was what you wanted to do, but then you were alive, and you're here, and so I guess me having a job was kind of a moot point, and I really didn't need to have it, but also I met this girl, her name's Susato-san. I think she's in love with you, but actually she's my new best friend, so we're gonna have to work that out one way or another, and then we met you, and I am concerned about you, because I think you're acting very weird, so I'm not really ready to quit my job yet. I need money, for starters, and I need you to be on my side again. That's the bulk of it. Oh, and I have a desire to uncover the truth. That too. For sure. Even if the truth proves your clients to be guilty, I don't think that's the truth I'm going to uncover. Fan Spida, hello. From all of my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it always comes out. Yes, that's right. Now you just stay calm. So, it's always my intention to work with my clients in pursuit of the truth. Uh-oh, we're still dropping like flies. Oh, you've got to be fucking with me. Come on, you sultry little bitch. Get your shit together. Okay? Okay. I want you to remember what you just said, as I was saying. Oh. Enough dilatory chatter. Dilatory chatter. Fuck. Shit. God damn it. Counsel for the defense. Proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. I'm getting right on that. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction, you're convinced, lies somewhere within this man's testimony. So what, it's my job to point it out? That doesn't seem very fair. Why is it my job to point out my own client's contradictions? The Reaper and the Assassin exchange. Alright, fine. I've never taken the life of another, nor... Alright, well, I think I know where we're going with this, actually. I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason I went to Fresno Street and how I came to discover the body. I think this is the statement that's contradictory. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Now, first of all, is it as simple as the photograph? I know I have a photograph. Is the photograph... Well, no, it's not that one. Is it this one? An old photographic print displays rather prominently in Inspector Gregson's office. The person on the left is Lord Clint von Zeeks. But there's no connection to Dr. Wilson, actually. So you know what? Maybe not. All right, first of all, let me press for more info. Maxwell, hello. There is a link between you and Gregson, though. Of course. We were close acquaintances. We'd worked together on numerous cases. I'd considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons. He did? Such as what? Oh? Where to buy good fish and chips, and such like. Where can I get good fish and chips? Well, that was convincing. Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university. That's right! He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yumei University in Tokyo. It should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man. It sounds plausible enough, and I do want to believe this. But something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. There's no reason to suspect me of being the assassin. Alright, I'll press that too. Well, certainly as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted the scheme.
Objection.
Oh! Got something to say? But it stands that we only have the accused's insistence of his innocence. What? I'm sorry? Perhaps there's some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason could be established later in these proceedings, then the accused's claim in this testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury. Well, yeah, that's true. However...
Clearly Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason and use it to make his case.
So if I don't identify something first...
He'll gain the advantage.
Well, thank you for giving me a reason of why I have to make my clients look more guilty. Great, okay. God, it's like playing fucking chess, and I barely know how to play checkers. A convincing testimony by Lord von Zeeks.
Well, certainly. With no apparent connection between the three men, there's no way to establish a motive. The testimony seems unassailable as far as I can see. Oh! What a bleak expression.
I agree. There doesn't appear to be any particular link between them at first glance. But, with the inclusion of one other person... maybe I'm overthinking it. Surely.
Another person? Mr. Naruhodo?
I need to think back over all the information we've gleaned so far.
Okay, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court record.
Could it be that Lord von Zeeks has something to hide after all? Well, fuck, I guess I'm gonna have to press for more. Okay. I'm just gonna press you on everything, I guess. So, you're not what the general public refer to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey. Exactly. Don't imagine for a moment that the courts will be satisfied with a one-word answer on this. I realize that. If you're intending to comment on every sentence, this could take a while, Kazuma. I gotta sneeze. Fuck, it's not gonna come. Oh, I hate that. Didn't you find it disturbing, though? That one by one defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecutions were killed? Let me answer that question with another one. If one by one defendants who'd been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing? I might, honestly. Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that would make me feel with a one-word answer like that. Exactly. Oh, I see what you're doing. Well, okay. But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay. He's been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years. Okay. Tell us more. You say for years. How long exactly? Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now. And your investigation led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying. I didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past. A friend, even. It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the yard without his knowledge. Which is when you found his secret notebook, is it? It's when I first learned of the location he'd noted only as grouse and the appointment at 5 p.m. on the 31st. Though I didn't know the significance of those details at the time. So now we're at the nub of the matter. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body. Right, okay. But why did you go to that specific location? I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock, I would catch whoever was involved red-handed. Sadly, all that was awaiting me was the inspector's corpse. Yeah, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku. Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone, but unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first. Ha! A ridiculously careless blunder. Moved on to just throwing hands, or whatever you're talking about. Hershey's. Sounds wonderful right now. Guys, I'm going there later this month, Hershey Park, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, because I want a chocolate martini and to ride a roller coaster. Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth. And it seems like the perfect fall amusement park to go to. Very Halloween-y and chocolatey. Alright, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. I beg to differ. Give me one moment to find out what I'm gonna use to throw, to pull this all together. Alright, well, you have a brother named Clint. Clint's autopsy report, and it's signed by Dr. Wilson, who carried out the procedure, so that connects you to him, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Coroner John H. Wilson, penned by Mitochondria. And we already know that you are connected to Gregson, so actually this is the only connection I need to make, I think. I'm gonna throw this out. I feel confident.
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report? Oh, thank God. Ugh, I get so nervous presenting evidence these days. Wait, this is 10 years old, from the autopsy of Lord Clint von Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report? I'm pleased to see. The defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Just give me a second here, Lord von Zeeks. I got your back. Oh, jeez. Order in court! What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report to your counsel? Girl, I'm working on it. The autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an It's an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Pardon my, occasional dyslexia. Not that accursed name again. The professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint von Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. That's right, I remember hearing that. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proves Genshin Asogi was guilty of these murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed. That was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes, and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. I am so sorry, guys. I have to do another reset. She's being real fucking testy today. It enabled Lord Von Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. Right. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. Hence now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened, and it needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced. Isn't that right? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Well, before we jump to any conclusions here, let's not be rash about this. Order at once! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. It's getting hot in here, and I insist someone turns up the air. My God. It's my fault. I wore a sweater today, but it's blue, and I think I look really nice in it. I think it brings out my eyes. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it on, and I'm just gonna make it chilly in here. Alright. Sorry, you were saying? Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity on purpose here. However... Oh, Jesus. He who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma! You know this isn't gonna wash! You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago? You've got to see that without evidence, there's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. What? As the court heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku, but my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What? What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in the autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I don't know anything of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Kuruma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. This is why your sword tip broke on the box.
Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it?
That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That's all.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing perfectly clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt of that in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick.
Oh no, you didn't. He surely did, though. Gregson's the one who pushed for an autopsy to be done, regardless of how sacrilege. Because he was like, if you do an autopsy, I know for a fact if we do an autopsy, we'll get conclusive evidence that can put the professor away. He knew because you staged it, or you and your co-conspirators, you arranged something. Yeah, so something fucky-wucky was done with the autopsy. So you admit it then? Jesus, pardon me. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated.
It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders.
Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak!
I'm not saying another word.
Even if your life were to depend on it?
That's right. Even then.
Oh! Whew. But he just hit the box. That's fine. We know this. So that's when the tip of the sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama!
If the results of Clint von Zeke's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, had to have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barock von Zeeks. Susato-san, I think your father might be implicated here. What? No, her father's mitochondria, not Wilson. Never mind, Susato-san, I get so... Oh, Jesus Christ, my God. Where did you come from? In other words, the defendants did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly. And as we established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. Well... Alright, before we start accusing anybody of liaisoning, can we... So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barock von Zeeks. This is why I didn't want to point out any of his contradictions, to be fair.
Objection.
Kazuma Asogi. What? What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper. Oh, like gasp! Oh my goodness. Wait, what? Alright, girl, I swear to Christ, you better drop that name right fucking now, because there's a dangerous precedent in Ace Attorney games where a character has riveting information and then something horrible happens to them. I'm directly having war flashbacks to when I was in fucking Spirit of Justice, and spoilers for that game, but you guys probably should have all seen it right now. And that bitch got shot in my trial. What? What? Lord von Zeeks? I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. To one person? If Lord von Zeeks isn't the one behind all of this, well then yeah, there's only one other person who could have done something like that. Oh, I know too? Isn't it? It's you, Lord Chief Justice, who wields absolute authority in judicial matters, including the appointment of lawyers. He's a thoroughly intimidating man. You're the supervillain, still, I think. Unless I'm horribly misreading the situation. I believe that I know who it is, too. You? I just had a feeling his name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... Oh, it's time to call them... Oh, we're like putting our money where our mouth is. It's Maria Gori. No, I don't think that's correct. Let me just go through all of my suspects, make sure there's nobody else who it could be. I don't think it could be Kazuma. Barry Caden, the governor of Barclay, seems he was good friends with Professor Mikatoba during the Japanese man's time in Britain as a visiting student. I mean... Possibly? I don't think so, though. But, like, he was the governor of the prison. No, I don't think that makes sense. Daily Vigil, a man who disappeared without... No, I don't think it's you. I don't think it's you. I don't think it's you. I think it's you. I would love if it was you. You've already been guilty enough. We're finding your co-conspirator. He's an authority in forensic medicine, and he's Susato-san's father. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Male Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. Well, this is... Here's the thing. If I'm wrong about this, this is a big fuck-up, because he's the man in charge here. I don't know that I'm even allowed to throw out an accusation like this. Like, if I were to even try, I feel like I would just be absolutely fucked beyond all reason of a doubt. But let's be totally real here. If you're not the supervillain, you're kind of a boring character who has no real purpose here. So I feel like if for no other reason than you need something to do. I think it's you. Can I throw that out? Is that safe? The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Male Strongheart. What? Lord Strongheart? I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but it's also true. 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court, but he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint von Zeeks, had been killed. What? How do you feel about this? I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. It's no laughing matter. Well, Lord von Zeeks? 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the Lord to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, all of it came from you. Oh. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way that you stood aside and let me handle that trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Shishiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Damn, I'm just holding that point for... Oh my god, your leg. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. Man, that's what they all say. A formal accusal. Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint von Zeeks' autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection.
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to such. And where's your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now. Unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. Not completely unheard of, by the way. You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. Well, we're in hot water now. Order in the court.
Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded over a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
I would like to object. Susato-san, do something. You're my savior. Kazuma, he's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth of what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint von Zeke's autopsy. There is someone. Hang on, let me reread the autopsy again. What did it say about it? It was signed by Dr. Wilson, who carried out the procedure, but Professor Mikotoba was the one who penned the report. Susato-san, how would you feel about us calling your father to the stand? I think there's someone. He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Scythe isn't going to say anything against Strongheart. But there is still one ray of hope.
Objection.
Oh. Oh, it's not you? Oh, it's me. I'm objecting. Right, of course. Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy.
Don't be ridiculous, there's no one left.
Who, Ryunosuke? Tell me. Kazuma, Please, this trial can't end. Not yet. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm not doing this for you. That is such a lie. I am so doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. And for you, because I love you, and I want you to have nothing but love and happiness and respect. And we're gonna be the best boyfriends. People are gonna be jealous of us when we're together again. Mitochondria, the powerhouse of the courtroom. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify is,
Take that!
Eugene Mitochondria. Heaven help us, another Japanese.
All right, calm your racism down for a moment. This is actually an expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Eugene Mitochondria. 16 years ago, he came to London with Shishiro Jigoku and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student.
And what could his testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it.
In other words, Professor Mitochondria witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mitochondria be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something that only he can tell us.
The defense's demand is denied.
What? But you can't! But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment! We could summon him to the stand in minutes!
No, of course he won't agree to this. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He is too concerned about protecting himself.
Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only moments ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
I did, yes.
So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete.
At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence. But that's exactly why we need key witness testimony.
The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father.
Not the homicide.
Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Shishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
But we all know what's going to happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again.
By which you mean me?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. This futile game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi.
Oh, Kazuma. I object. Oh. He needs a hug.
That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be
Is it mitochondria? Is he here? In the stand? Maybe? Oh, it's Sholmes. Oh, hi, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing here?
This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Shishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Mal Strongheart! It's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage.
Is it really? And why would that be?
You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be. Not the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, could it? Those are his words.
The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered.
Well, that's a lie. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows. Should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the provocations of your superiors?
Order in my court!
Yeah, you keep saying that. It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is quite ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you, and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now.
The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
He's right, Frankie! The judge has absolutely no authority! Has absolute authority here!
Yeah, if he calls the trial to an end, babe, that'll be the end.
But what do we really do, Frankie? Why, since dark things occurring behind the scenes, dark things indeed!
Is there a single person here present who can honestly say that they believe in this man?
What's going on? Who are these people? They're so big and round and yellow and blue!
And what's with the trees coming out of their heads?
The trial should go on!
Summon the witness!
That's right, Frankie!
I got you, babe. We need to clear this up. Banger alert. Yeah, the music is insane.
My lord, you assured those present would uncover the whole truth! Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation!
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, my lord. That's the very foundation of British law.
Your Piantas!
But we're British now!
A toast to my dependable Pianta colleagues in the gallery.
On with the trial!
On with the trial.
Testify! Testify!
Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence them. Do you guys hear them?
The court will recess briefly.
Are you allowed to do that?
I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations.
Oh shit! We got him! He's gonna do it? Wow. That's so unrealistic, because in my experience, these people who have these positions of power, they will just not. They just simply won't.
Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena for the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives in the courthouse, we shall reconvene.
A recess won't be necessary, my lord.
Pardon?
Mikatoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today, and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Mikatoba is here in the courthouse? Mika who? Not mitochondria? Mr. Sholmes, what's going on here? Did you know that all of this was going to happen? My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, though. What?
Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave at once.
Oh, but of course. In truth, I find myself rather busy these days as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? Yeah? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you. Oh, I absolutely do. Yes, I do. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards, and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Guess we're gonna be talking to him again. Right. Tug of the ears, of course.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand.
Whoo, boys! So, it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? And just, how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. Hell yeah, I am. Super ready. The readiest. The most. The best. To be continued! Oh, Lord. Oh, how much more is there? Save your current progress? Yeah, for sure. Well, we know who the bad guy... What else is there left to find out? I guess all we have to do now is, like, expose exactly the details of how this plot was concocted and executed. It's the trial, and it's part 3 of the trial, so... I guess we can start it at least. Maybe we can open it up. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't realize you were gonna be here. So, witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
Eugene Mitochondria. Lecturer in forensic medicine at the Imperial Yumei University in Tokyo, Japan.
She's fascinated by him. What's that all about? And Professor Mikatoba, the young lady beside you is...
Ah! This is Dr. Maria Gorey. Scotland Yard's practicing coroner. The daughter of Dr. Scythe, I understand.
Yeah, Dr. Scythe.
I'm afraid I can't tell you why she's here. She, just appeared, sort of.
Oh. Okay. Well. Whatever floats your boat. You summoned this strange Japanese man as a witness to that autopsy? But you don't summon Mama? That makes no sense. She... I think we're back.
That's about the size of it. I've had her eyes boring into the side of my cheek constantly whilst I was in the antechamber too.
Yeah, poor guy. You know, the idea of all of this makes me shudder. Man, we have to deal with so many coroners.
The revelations about Dr. Scythe that came to light some days ago defiled the reputation of the entire judiciary. She was therefore deemed unfit to appear as a witness in today's proceedings.
Damn, her whole career's ruined, I guess. Hi again, Kuran says.
The Ministry of Justice's decision on that is final. Well, we wouldn't want any more perjury to be committed, would we?
No, of course not. Absolutely not. The Ministry of Justice. Some questionable strings are being pulled, I think.
I remember you, Dr. Mikatoba. But I certainly never expected to be meeting you under these circumstances.
Yes, it's been quite a while, Lord Strongheart.
The prosecution understands that you were a visiting student of forensic science in London until 10 years ago.
That's right. I studied under Dr. Wilson at St. Sinners.
So you were present at the autopsy of my brother, Lord Clint von Zeeks.
I was, yes. I assisted Dr. Wilson with the entire procedure.
Mama is far more skilled than any Japanese man.
Well, Dr. Wilson wanted to ask me to be his primary assistant on that occasion.
And this autopsy report was actually penned by you, I believe.
Yeah, I noted all the doctor's findings, and when we were done, he read through the document and signed it.
Poor Mama. A secondary assistant. She wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards.
So, Professor, do you remember Inspector Gregson?
Yes, of course I do. If it wasn't for his insistence, Lord von Zeeks' autopsy would never have happened. But he was absolutely convinced that it would reveal decisive evidence against Genshin, you see? So Lord Strongheart had to entreat the nobility to allow it to take place. Do correct me if I'm wrong, my lord.
It was a result of that autopsy that a mass murderer was apprehended and justice was done.
But Gregson admitted it before he was killed. He admitted that the results of the autopsy were fabricated. You were there at the time, so you must testify now. You have an obligation to tell the truth about what really went on.
Well, absolutely. That's precisely why I'm here.
And that's why I'm here too.
Very well then. You will give your formal testimony now, witness. But before you begin, a word of warning.
Oh.
You will state truthfully and accurately what you saw and what you heard at the time.
I wouldn't dream of doing otherwise, my lord.
The moment your testimony verges on supposition, I will expel you from my courtroom. Remember that.
Of course.
Great, no pressure. All right, witness testimony. 8 o'clock, boys. Should I run through this first line of testimony or should we cut it here? You know what? I'll divulge to chat. What do you guys want? Is this a good stopping point for the night? Or should I let him testify right now? You guys sit and think about that amongst yourselves. Cut it here? All right. The first voice has spoken. If I will wait for another 10 seconds. Does anybody object? It doesn't seem that way. I've got 2 for cut. Okay, perfect. No objections. I'm gonna cut. This is the last segment of the game, but it will take you a while. When you say a while, all right, let me ask you this, Maxwell. I'm gonna ask you the question I always ask in Ace Attorney games, and you guys always give me the wrong information. When you say, are we looking at, do you think that this game could be completed in a 2-hour live stream? Or do you think it could be completed in 3 hours, divvied up into 2 hour-and-a-half long live streams? Or do you think it'll take 4 or more hours to get through? 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours? What are we looking at here? You guys can leave a comment. I'll let you think it through. If you're somebody who's already played the game. If you're flying blind like me, I'm so glad we're on this journey together. That should be fantastic. But yeah, I should probably finish the game sometime next week. I just want to know an estimate of how many streams I should be planning for. 4 hours? Really? Oh, how much more do these people have to say? Well, it is the Great Ace Attorney, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Anyways, we'll get to it. However long it takes, I do intend to have this game completed by Thursday of next week. So we'll see how long I have to stream to make that happen, but we'll get it done because it's October and I do need to get into a spooky game. So it's about time we wrap it here. But yeah, I think I can finish it this week and then we can move into something maybe a little bit spoopy Halloween-y, and that would be cool. Yeah. Zero Escape, actually, Fiction of Grandeur. Hang on to that thought, because that is one that I want to do. I have the game, and I think it would be fun. We'll see. That's the one that's like on my brain, because I played the first one, and I think there is a second one. I think it would be fun to play the second one. So we got to get through this first, then we can do that, and it'll all come together. Okay, boys. Well, until then, this is where I take my leave. If you guys could please leave a like on the stream, the engagement is super helpful. Thank you for spending your evening with me, and I will see you guys next week while we finish off the final trial and see whatever hell happens. All right, boys. Toodles!